atrocities, right?
Right.
And people, of course, Russia's saying, well, that's fake. But we have satellite images of those bodies in the streets before the Ukrainians come in and take photos of them, so we can prove that
Right.
they were there. So it's like technology is really changing the landscape of the war.
Yeah,
for sure.
The point is we don't live in the 13th century. This isn't like Genghis Khan or Attila the Hun invading another country with impunity. I mean, the world's watching, so I'm surprised Putin's inner circle didn't foresee that, where it's like, hey, this is everything's going to be in real time. Everything's real time.
Dude, do you want, listen?
They just couldn't tell him.
Yeah,
they'll kill him.
Teddy,
Yeah.
do you want to tell Putin?
But you're not a good advisor.
Listen. If Putin took a shit and said, "This is the biggest shit I've ever seen in my life,"
yeah.
if you looked in there and you went, "I took a bigger shit than
You're
that this
dead.
morning," would you say it? No, you wouldn't fucking say that.
Yeah,
Come on.
But if you're the king and I'm your advisor, I would actually be doing you a disservice by telling you what you want to
You
hear
mean like the emperor has no clothes?
versus what you need to hear.
Yeah, Teddy, that's not a thing.
And
though.
if you kill me, that means you have a very small penis.
but Teddy-
That's all it means. That's all
That's
it
the
means.
trouble with
Yeah.
autocrats.
Yeah.
They want to surround themselves with yes men
Yeah.
like Trump and
Right.
Putin
I mean,
and-
the
and they don't get
reality
real-
of it is I want to live, whether I want to live in
Yeah.
Russia or I want to live in China or I want to live in any, North Korea, whatever. I'm not going to tell these people anything that they don't already know about themselves. They don't already think about themselves.
There was a Russian. There was a Roman general a long time ago. Aurelius, I think. I'm not sure.
I think Marcus Aurelius was a statesman. Are you talking about Nero?
No,
Cassius.
He was a great general.
Cassius Clay?
He'd go out and have a huge battle and win, and he'd come back and they'd throw these massive parades. And he had a slave. Unfortunately, he had slaves back then, and he would just whisper in his ear the entire time they marched down the thing. You're just a human. You're only human. You're just a human. So they didn't get his head filled with thinking he was some sort of god.
You know what? I do not want that. Listen. I'm going to say
Keeps
that
you
I'm
alive.
vain enough. Well, you know what? I think I'd rather live like a king than.
I'm saying we live in a modern society, just like we talked about the royal
Right.
family. I mean, it's an antiquated concept,
Right,
So did you hear about this on a side note? So I guess Prince William and whoever the wife is, they went to visit the Caribbean to celebrate,
right.
celebrate the Queen's 70th Jubilee. So basically, they're celebrating the Queen, enslaving and colonizing all the Caribbean nations, which of course went very badly for them. So I mean,
Yeah. So one of them said,
Obviously, they're
"Listen,
fucking
we're done
toned
with
up.
this." Yeah,
Yeah.
One of the kings,
Yeah.
one of the leaders in one of the countries, they're there and they're just like, "Hey, listen, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but we're done with this shit. So you guys can leave anytime you want."
Yeah, because I guess
And they left.
She's still like a figurehead in like these Caribbean nations where there's like fuck the Queen,
You know what? No way, man.
Yeah.
I would bust that shit up. She's 95, man. I would break that shit to pieces.
You do a grandma style. You'd break a hip.
Now you sound like a Smiths album.
Get your
the Queen.
Get your get your foot caught in a little crocheted blankie. Get your toe caught.
I need a Queen Bee putter actually.
Have you ever made love in an Afghan? All right, fellas. Let's move on here. Let me ask you this question, Teddy. Have you ever lived anywhere but in Chicago?
I did. I actually lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming, when I was in the military, and then I lived in Fort Collins, Colorado, where Colorado State University is.
Okay.
Briefly, but I mean they've all been cold weather climates, so I've actually never lived in a warm weather climate year round. So there's always been that snow element. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Johnny, what about you? Ever lived anywhere?
Chicago.
Yeah. Same here. So except for my time in college, right? Downstate, in downstate Illinois.
Was there snow?
No, you know what? No, it didn't really ever snow down there. We were a little south of Champaign, so we're kind of like the southern end of the state. So no real snow, just some ice storms and stuff. But I have never lived. In fact, I live now. I've never lived more than 5 miles away from the house that I grew up in.
Wow.
Yeah, that fucking blows. And now Johnny, Teddy, and I have been talking about relocating because a lot of our friends are retired. They're moving out to different places, right? And I was thinking, where would be a great place to live, right? So every year, different places, they put out ideas. They put out lists of the greatest places to live in America. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about where we would want to live if we didn't live in this shithole. And by shithole, I mean Chicago. Okay? So according to Business Insider, and they've been doing this for years, the number one place to live in America is Austin, Texas.
I wouldn't live there. I mean, I heard about that too. I mean, for example, Money Magazine always has the top 10 places to live, and it's based on an index of like crime, education, housing. But I mean, It's expensive to live there now.
Well,
I mean,
it's getting overcrowded.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I wouldn't. I mean, Austin is cool, but I wouldn't live there personally. But I heard about it. Yeah.
Okay, so fuck Austin. Okay. Number 2, Denver, Colorado.
I've been to Denver a few times, and I'll be honest with you, it fucking snows like crazy in the wintertime. They don't even use salt on the roads; they use sand, and it just.
And now you can get weed other places.
Yeah, you get weed other places. Yeah, I mean,
well, that was the thing.
Yeah.
One of the things they said was it was legalized dope, right? Yeah. And I was thinking, if you're moving somewhere and you're using legalized dope as the reason you want to live there, I think you're making bad life choices.
I agree.
Yeah, you can do that anywhere. Exactly.
Okay, number 5 on the list, Teddy. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Des Moines, Iowa.
It's a shithole.
I golfed in Des Moines one time.
Yes,
and
we did.
I didn't golf good.
We did. Oh man, he golfed like shit.
So I hate that place.
So here, I'll tell you a funny story. So we're going to we drive to Des Moines because it's all COVID. Everything is shut down, and Des Moines is the one place that actually has golf courses open. Right? We get to Des Moines. Okay, I got bunches of shit to drink. I got stuff to eat. Because we're going to be there all day long. We literally golfed from sun up. We got there like just after sun up, and we golfed to sundown. Ted brings nothing. Ted has nothing to drink, nothing to eat.
It's true.
Yeah. And I have to give him half of my shit. You know what I should have done?
Right.
Yeah, I should have just killed him.
No, actually, what happened was we stopped at a gas station. There was a gas station that was open with a lot of amenities. I failed
A
to
quick trip?
Yeah, a quick trip or one of those marts. Yeah,
Yeah,
So
shit
I
slop,
failed to get anything.
quick trip.
So what happened was, I was dying of thirst. There was a guy on the course carrying a cooler bag of Busch Light, out of all things, which they serve at the best strip bars, by the way. John,
And Ted blew the guy for 2 beers.
Yeah, and I said, and I actually paid the guy money. I said, could you sell me?
didn't.
Could you sell me some of those beers? So I gave him $5. He gave me 3 beers, and they were lukewarm. That was
Best beer you
That was
ever
the
had.
best beer I ever had because I was so thirsty.
Listen, if you're going to go anywhere in Iowa, why would you pass up the crown jewel, Davenport, Iowa?
Hey, I don't make the list. I don't make this list.
No, it was Davenport because remember we were right across the border. It was Davenport.
Des Moines is too far.
Des Moines is too far. We were in Davenport because remember we went right across the border.
It's a D word.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Davenport, dickhead, whatever.
exactly.
Okay, so I thought Des Moines was kind of a weird choice for number 5, right? It's kind of hick. So I went in, I looked up the things to do in Des Moines. The number 1 most popular thing to do in Des Moines, they have a giant bar with 320 beers on tap. That's the draw to Des Moines.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, hey, I love beer as much as the next guy, but if that's the number 1 thing, you might be a redneck. Okay. All right, you ready? Number 6, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Too cold.
I've been to, so isn't St. Paul and the other one like part of the Twin Cities? St. Paul and what's the other one?
Yeah.
Mall of America. Where Mall?
Where it is.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
I was disappointed when they said Twin Cities. I thought it was Twin Titties. Yeah. So when we got there, I was disappointed.
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. The average temperature in the winter is like 15 degrees. Yeah. That's
When they have to build underground walkways because it's so freaking cold.
right. Okay, ready? Number 7 on the list, San Francisco.
It's a shithole.
It's a shithole.
Yeah,
Homeless encampments
the
everywhere.
mayor said we have to take our town back from
High
all the
taxes.
Okay, so are you ready for this?
Yeah.
The crime rate in San Francisco is higher than in Compton, California.
Yep.
Yeah. If you live in San Francisco, you have a 1 in 16 chance of being a victim of property or violent crime.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
I don't like those odds.
Listen, in Chicago is a shithole. It's only 1 in 50.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's 3 times more likely in San Francisco.
Thanks.
And there are places in Chicago, if you went, you would die immediately.
Thanks, Nancy Pelosi, because that's her district, by the way.
Is it really?
It is, yeah.
Oh, no shit. Okay. So the homeless problem is so bad that the city is asking people, homeowners, to go out, take a homeless person in, and let them live in your house.
No, you know what we need to do? We need to euthanize the homeless and donate their organs because there's because there's 10,000
Hey, Teddy's
people on the
gonna get
Can you
votes.
beep that? Can you beep?
there's 10,000 people on the organ donor waiting list.
Listen, Johnny, you've heard all the shows, you've been on a bunch, you know that this is Ted's thing. Now, Ted, I'm surprised because I feel like you have a special relationship with the homeless, right? That I thought you would be more pro-homeless.
Well, there's 2 different types. There's homeless by choice, and then there's homeless because you're mentally ill and you're not capable of finding homes because they're just mentally ill enough to not be able to get the care they need.
Right.
I feel bad for those people, but then the ones that are homeless by choice because they just want to live off the grid or some stupid shit like that.
I think it's fair to say that the vast majority of homeless have problems.
Yeah. Okay, well,
you know what their problem is? They don't have a fucking home.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
get a fucking job.
Well, here's the thing: if you're homeless, but you have like 10 felony convictions, because there's a lot of homeless people. I mean, I'm saying
conviction.
I'm just saying, yeah.
No. Convicted? No, never convicted.
Accused?
That's the line from Stripes. Yeah. Have you guys ever been convicted of a crime?
Yeah.
Convicted? No.
Are either of you two gentlemen homosexuals?
You mean like flaming?
Yeah.
It's a standard question.
I got to ask.
Oh, my God. You know what? No matter what happens with this podcast, that moment, John, is the moment I will remember for the rest of my life.
Me too, because we somehow shut him up.
Yeah.
I was speechless. That was good. I was like, wow, I was in awe of what you just said.
Back and
So I know guys come up with lists, right? People come up with lists, but here's what I thought. I kind of got 10 criteria that I thought would be really important if you were finding a place to live. Okay, so it's not in any particular order or anything, but tell me if these 10. I thought these 10 would be the most important. Okay, so number one, best food.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you got to eat, right?
Gotta eat.
Okay, safest cities, right? And then most dangerous.
Yeah.
So you want to avoid those. Okay, ready? Fattest cities.
Biloxi, Mississippi. Anything in Mississippi. Jackson,
well,
Mississippi.
Well, no, just the general thing, because I thought you could do this two ways, right? Two ways. One, you don't want to live there because there's so many fatties.
Or
but number two, you're kind of chunky, and if you move there, you don't look as fat.
Like, I'm a 5 here in Chicago, but in Davenport, I'm a 10. I'm a solid 10.
You're in Davenport. You're an underwear model. You're a Calvin Klein underwear model in Davenport.
Oh, when you find out the fattest city, this is going to be so much fun. Okay,
it's in Mississippi, right?
No.
Really?
The dumbest city is not.
No,
in
the
Mississippi.
fattest.
The
city.
fattest? No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not.
Right.
When you listen, I'll go. The dumbest city.
Arkansas.
No. I'm just saying that's one of the criteria.
That's a state, John. So I was you're dumb now.
No, I was saying a city.
John.
A city in Arkansas is what I meant. Like,
I don't know, John.
Little Rock.
Teddy might be right.
Flippin, Arkansas. That's a real city.
Oh, man, I'm off for that.
Yeah.
Flipping off. We're not doing that. Okay, sorry. So I thought dumbest would work great. If you're dumb, you go there, you just kind of fit in. If you're moderately intelligent, you're a fucking genius. Okay? All right. Ready? The straightest city. They're ranked. The straightest city. So if you're just a dude looking for chicks and you don't want to get bogged down by guys hitting on you, you go to the straightest city. And you ready? Conversely, the gayest cities. Okay? Cities with the hottest chicks. I thought that would be important. Because if you're out and you're moving, you want to see some hot chicks. Okay? Conversely, cities with the ugliest people. And then cities with more women than men. I mean, I kind of dig it. So you guys would have no idea. I want to start with dumbest, okay? So you guys have no idea. You couldn't guess in 1,000 years.
I have no idea about anything you just said, so I'll wait for
But are you ready for this? Out of the 10 dumbest cities in America, 7 are in California.
Wow.
I know. Oh, now, this makes more sense. 2 in New Jersey and 1 in Florida.
New Jersey makes sense. Florida makes sense.
Yeah. But you know what the Florida city is?
Jacksonville.
Hialeah.
I've never even heard of it. Hialeah. It's like I think it's near Miami.
I have heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is.
I heard of Hialeah.
So they're one of the dumbest cities. If you go to Hialeah, Ted, even you would be a fucking genius.
Wow. I'm moving to Hialeah.
Okay, you ready? Ugliest cities. Take a guess. This is a legit city. East Coast city.
Baltimore, Maryland.
No, I'm gonna. I'm gonna say Concord, New Hampshire.
What the fuck?
Was it really?
How the fuck did you guess that?
He just made it up. He didn't know.
Well, yeah, I just made it up.
Yeah, he just guessed.
I didn't make up Baltimore. I just guessed.
So the ugliest city in America is Baltimore.
Seems very subjective.
What have I won? Tell me what I won.
Seems very subjective.
You've won a trip to Baltimore.
Yes!
So you can be the king of Baltimore.
That's crazy.
Actually, the Inner Harbor, Baltimore has some really awesome lobster.
Ask another one. Ask another
Yes,
one.
and sickly, ugly people. So second, Sacramento, California, which I thought was weird because
you think it'd be hotter.
Right. Spokane, Washington, Charlotte, North Carolina. This one makes sense. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah. Yeah, I've been in Milwaukee, man. I mean, Wisconsin is just full of fat, fucking ugly people. I mean, they're grotesque. John, any chance you want to turn your phone off?
Yes.
Okay. Cleveland, Ohio, Tampa, Florida, and Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah. That's the ugliest. Okay, you ready?